Okay, I want to go to first David in Australia, who wants to know how he can talk to his Jehovah's Witness family about their beliefs. Hey, David, you're on the air. What's going on?
Hey, how you going? Good.
Awesome.
Hi, David.
Hey, how are you, Lloyd? So I've left Jehovah's Witness. My sister has. Well, I managed to, show my mother and my sister critical information, and they left. My mum was a witness for over 30 years. My dad still is just. I think I may have made the mistake of just full on printing out maybe like about 60 pages worth of, stuff, critical information. He just got so mad and just lost the plot, and just didn't want to listen. What approach do you think, now that I kind of made that mistake of just getting in his face and just showing him this critical information, how can I go back to him and what topic would you suggest to, like, what point can I make to him to try and, at least let him, give him some peace for his later years in life, that he doesn't have to, believe this nonsense.
Okay, so, well, the important thing to remember, and it can't be stressed enough, is that there is no magic bullet when it comes to relieving people of cult indoctrination. I mean, if there were, Jehovah's Witnesses wouldn't exist, because everyone who's an ex-Jehovah's Witness would know exactly what to say to their believing family members. So, right. I think there's a danger of kind of chasing a unicorn that just isn't there to some extent. That's not to say it's impossible to wake up your dad. It's just I liken it to almost like a surgical procedure where there are no guarantees, and where it's almost like an art form to try and reach through to someone who has a deeply entrenched beliefs in that way. Actually, the best method to look into, which Dan can tell you all about, is street epistemology. It's just a very relaxed, very kind, humanistic, dialectic way of reaching out to someone, just using questions and just helping them explore their beliefs. But probably immediately, I would recommend just kind of climbing down a little bit and just saying, look, I didn't want to bombard you with information the other day. I understand why that would have made you feel uncomfortable. I won't be doing that again. But you should know that I'm open to a conversation whenever you feel ready. Maybe if you say something like that, it might just kind of, scale things back a little bit.
Right, yeah. Because I think I kind of went in way too aggressive, just wanting to, out of love, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done the same thing with my dad. I've bombarded my dad with information and with newspaper articles, and it's because of the reaction that I got that I know that it doesn't work, and that I've been attracted to other methods like street epistemology. So yeah, I definitely sympathise with your predicament.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't want. We couldn't even discuss more than 2 minutes. That was it. He just saw red and just closed down. There was no dialogue whatsoever. It was, sad, obviously. But and then he obviously views me as an apostate and an unbeliever, and it's uncomfortable. It's weird.
Yeah,
I think your priority needs to be to repair that trust and repair that relationship. And just realize that this needs to be a journey that he needs to take, and you can't take it for him. He needs to be at that point in life where he's ready to examine his beliefs, and it's just literally not something that you can kind of walk him through yourself. All you can do is you can be loving and kind and be there for him. And if a conversation does come up kind of organically, be prepared with some of the tools from the street epistemology arsenal so that you know how to navigate that conversation.
I mean, he was baptized in 1971, so it's pretty. He's been
build up to 1975. There you go.
Yeah, I brought that up straight away. I mean, how could you not see that? I mean, 1976. Why didn't you just leave? I mean, half the witnesses left in 1976. I mean, why did you stay on? I mean, nothing worked at all. So Yeah, I've actually just seen Anthony Manabusco's channel on street epistemology, and it's actually it seems like a really, really, really good approach. Just gentle.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Lloyd's right on the money when it comes to talking with family members. It's almost, I find it's easier to talk to strangers about this kind of stuff than it is with family, because family, you've got that baggage of your personal relationships, and they know all your secrets, you know all their secrets, and that kind of comes into play when you're having these conversations. I think I made the mistake when I was talking to my family about my kind of coming out, in the sense that I was like ready to jump on them. I was like, look, I got all the facts right here. Let me just spill it out for you, okay? And they just weren't really ready for that, because I think it was also a surprise to them. I don't think that they knew that this was like something that was a long time coming. I think they felt like it was something that was much more immediate. It sounds like, David, you've had at least a couple conversations so far with it. But I think Lloyd's right on the money when it's like it's a working relationship, and it's going to be a journey. It's not going to be something that happens all at once, because, right, I mean, I imagine with my parents, when they found out for me, it was like I'm getting fit into their narrative now, because it's like, okay, why did my son leave this? It must be because X, Y, and Z. They're still working within their narrative framework and their kind of understanding, their worldview, before they can come around to, well, what was his life experiences like? What kind of things was he looking at? They hadn't deconstructed that part yet. They just saw, oh, Christian one day, atheist the next. I don't know what your relationship like with your father is, David, but maybe that's what's going on as well. Unless they're having the same kinds of experiences as you are, it's going to be harder to kind of relate. But day by day.
He's recently stepped down as an elder because. Well, I mean, his whole family's left, so it doesn't look that good. So it's now just a matter of, where to from here. The family's kind of broken up. Three have left. One's still in. It's just a matter of softly speaking with him and just
try and get that relationship repaired. Maybe there's something that you can do. Maybe some act of kindness, just as an olive branch. Like in my own case, when I was driving past my dad's house, I noticed his hedges needed cutting, so I arranged to cut his hedges for him. So maybe there's something like that you can do, just to show that you care about him. Maybe that might prompt a conversation in which you can just climb down from what you tried to do earlier, and just try and get the relationship back on an even keel. And then who knows what might come from that.
Yeah.
Anything in particular that, which I will do, that's very good advice, and that needs to be done to kind of restore that aggressive approach that I initially took out of love and excitement that I'd kind of found the truth about the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Anything particular, Lloyd, that you seem to that hits the nerves to bring up next, kind of just like in a gentle way, like. Anything and there's I guess there's just so many topics.
Yeah. Again, I don't know. This is the problem. I don't know what your dad's interested in, and even you might have an idea of what topic your dad might be interested in that he's really not interested in, which is why. I mean, the thing is, if he really cares about you and you're able to reestablish contact, he's going to want to have a conversation with you anyway, because he thinks that you're going to die at Armageddon unless he salvages you. So just wait for that conversation whenever it comes. And again, armed with those methods from street epistemology, if he says something, just take him down the kind of Socratic method of trying to establish how justifiable these claims are and these propositions are. But I just find personally in my outlook and in the way I approach conversations with believing people, it's helpful to just stress, look, I care about what's true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the situation I'm in now because I don't want to believe untrue things, and I don't want to follow anything that's a lie in any way, shape, or form. And that's what's led me to where I am now. So if you're able to convince me that what you believe is true, I really want to hear the evidence, and I'm willing to change my beliefs according to what's true. So just kind of stress that you're coming at this from a position of honesty and wanting to know what's true, and hopefully that might resonate.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great.
That's great advice, Lloyd. We have like a full stack of callers tonight that I definitely want to get to and make sure that we finish on time tonight so that Lloyd can go to bed. So, David, thanks again for calling in.
Cheers, yeah.
Thank you, David. Good luck.
Lloyd, thanks again for the great advice. And, David, I wish you luck as well. I think another thing to consider as well is just that, coming to the conclusion of being an atheist is like, I don't want to say the correct worldview, but just like kind of the position that we've landed in, right? Like, figuring out that being a Jehovah's Witness or like Jehovah's Witness beliefs aren't true doesn't mean that Christianity isn't true or that Islam isn't true, and I think that's something that people tend to forget because like that was definitely a part of my journey as well. It was like, oh, yeah, Christianity may not be true, but like, what about this Hinduism thing over here? Like, let's see what they're working on. And like, that was a phase for me to kind of explore too. And I think giving people those options to explore, like, okay, well, like, I see that this is your worldview. Well, this is somebody else's worldview. And how come, this doesn't fit into your perspective? Or is this not something you've considered? Like, something to bring up as well. But, the thing with street epistemology, like we talked about, it's more of a defensive thing, right? We're not really attacking people. And we're not really, we're great when people ask us questions. And we're great when we might ask other people questions. But when it comes to like the presentation of, this is why this isn't true, like those techniques don't apply as well, right? Mm-hmm.
Sure. I think it's interesting you were saying about, where do you go next? I have a lot of people kind of, one of the criticisms I get, shall we say, from Jehovah's Witnesses who stumble on my channel is they'll say, oh, well, here you are criticizing our faith, but you're not offering any kind of alternative. What's if this isn't true?
Yeah.
What's the alternative you have to offer that's better?
Right.
And my response to that is, once a fireman has helped you out of your burning house, it's not his job to then build you a new house. That's on you. So I'm going to help you out of a cult. You have to decide for yourself what happens next.